Welcome to this episode of
My Wife is a Therapist.
Let's Get Into It.
The following may or may not have happened.
Ooh, you like this, babe?
It's just a cup.
Yeah, you like it?
Yes, Kerese, it's very nice. This is the most exquisite cup I've ever seen. I hope we have many more cups like this in our long married life together, and I hope that one day you'll be able to pass this particular cup on to our children, and then they'll pass it on to their children, and so on and so on and so on.
You continue, man. Continue. Mock me. Oh my goodness. You know what I've always wanted, baby?
What is that?
Scented candles. I just think they add such a nice touch to a home, you know? Babe,
Yeah, well,
scented candles. We could get one.
that's not really important, you know, Kerese.
I know it's not important, Carla, but how much for a candle? We pour?
We're going to be poor if we spend out all our money on a candle.
You serious right now? One stinking candle we can buy?
I just don't see the point.
Well, when you come home after a long day, I better don't catch you breathing in me scented ear. Cork your nose.
Good. When I come home, I can stop breathing.
A simple candle you can buy, buddy.
Okay, so Kerese wrote this script, and I do not believe this is how things happen. Okay, so I'm sure I'm not that ridiculous, and I cannot remember the conversation happening like that. But for the sake of drama, yeah, we just recited the scripts. But I highly contest what we just said.
You highly contest. You can't even remember what happened.
But I'm sure I don't get all like that.
Anyway, before we continue, I would just like to say, I just want to thank God for my friend, Abigail. Abigail, I love you so much. And hello, Nataki and Trisha and Dario and Linda and Cleon and Ibi and Molly and Tom and Bryant.
So you just call everybody name? You're gonna forget somebody else.
And all my amazing friends who have stood with me and by me through thick and through thin.
All right.
Big up.
Great. Yes.
We got into trouble. I got into trouble the last time because our last episode was about friendship, and I mentioned some friends and didn't remember to mention a few. So
That's
I
why you
just
don't name
decided-
drop.
I just decided to call out a few of my friends. Not all of these people, noticed, I don't think, but I just want to pick up my friends. Okay, I love you guys.
I don't think in my wedding speech I called out too many names
No,
either,
you didn't.
because you don't want the sort of pressure in your life.
People feeling slighted.
Yes, back to this episode now.
Yes, please. Yeah, you can't even remember what happened. We were shopping. This was before we got married. We were just looking around, I guess doing more window shopping than anything, and trying to figure out what things we would buy for our home once we moved in and whatever. And I'm there so excitedly. We were at the mall, going through Giftland Mall aisles and stuff in the home department section. We're walking around and stuff. I seeing things. I asked the boy. I don't remember if it was a cup exactly, but it was something. And I was like, oh, this is... And you know us girls, very excited about... Well, not all girls are like this, but I'm like this. I like home stuff. So I'm showing the boy the thing. He's like, is a cup. What is there to like is a cup?
Well, I believe, I would say that. I believe that.
Okay.
I don't contest that.
And well, he didn't say we can be poor if we spend all our money, but for dramatic effects.
Okay, good.
Yeah, so Carlyle and I, this is actually an ongoing issue, isn't it? This is an ongoing issue where I simply liked scented candles. My husband insisted. We have been married for almost 3 years now. My husband insisted that he was not going to be spending any of our money on scented candles.
All right, I'm sounding very horrible at this moment, but this is it. So this is how we do our budget, right? Apparently, I'm better with money, so I'm in charge of the budget. But this is what happens. We take Kerese's money, we take Carlyle's money, we throw it in a bowl, and we mix it up together very well, so that we can't tell which money belongs to who. And then we just decide on a budget. Then I'll draft a budget, and then I'll show Carese, oh, this is the budget. Do we agree? And she say yes. So budget generally we have our expenses, bills and stuff like that, rent and things.
Tithes.
Yeah, tithes, all the kind of thing. And then there is always a section where we say my money and your money.
Yeah, so
right?
we each get an allowance in equal proportion.
Good, and we say, and that money now, you do whatever you want to do. You just all you have to do is just ensure it's your money. You do whatever you want to do with it, right? Nobody asks any questions. Good. So my stance on this matter is, we have our budget. You have your pocket piece. You see this is important. You buy it. We don't have to buy it from the money that is for us. I guess there's like what was it, groceries and basically just money that we spend together on the house and things like that, right? So I'm thinking, no, if you have your money, this is something that you like, you can afford it. Go ahead and buy it. We don't need to get it from our money.
Let us backtrack, okay?
Yeah.
Backpedal a little. The reason, so before all of this allowances stuff happened, this was a big thing, guys. This wasn't just a one-time conversation, okay? So we left, and I was like, I don't understand. So just because you don't like scented candles, you are making an executive decision that we cannot, we didn't budget anything yet.
Good.
At that point.
Uh-huh.
This was before we got married.
Good.
And you made a decision. We are not spending our money on any scented candles. It is not important. So you just need to deal with it. You didn't say it like that, but that was basically what you were communicating. That as the man.
What?
But it wasn't even as the man. It was just, I think we had already agreed that we had gotten as far as agreeing that you would handle the finances. So we were there saying, well, okay, I like scented candles. This is something I cherish in our home, or I would like to have in our home. It's a dream I've always had, and we talked about dreams, right? Mm-hmm. And in our first episode. So the whole thing was that you were saying no to something that I'm sharing with you. I have always wanted. It's like how you always. Let me think of something that you always wanted.
I don't want nothing.
You don't want nothing. This is the other thing. That's another thing for another episode. You don't even know what you want. You always wanted a camera and you never knew that you wanted one.
Okay.
Right? So I decided that I was going to take money, and I mean that's not fair. That was a gift. I'm trying to think of things that you like in our home. Nothing.
I never had a dream.
Oh my gosh. Let's say it was chicken, right? I don't like chicken. You like chicken.
Okay.
And you say, listen, in my house, I always want to have chicken. Okay? We must always have chicken. And I decide, well, since you always want chicken, then take your personal money and buy chicken. We will not be spending our house money to buy chicken. I mean, that's a bad example because we do eat chicken.
But yeah, I don't, even if you could find something that is non-essential, I don't see the problem with that logic.
I guess it's not, I just felt hurt that you, as your wife, is saying to you, this is what I would like to have in our home. And you're saying that's not important. What you want as a wife is not important.
It's not saying what you want as a wife is not important. I'm not saying what you want as a wife is not important.
But that's how I heard it. That's what you told me. You said, Carese, that is not important. And I said, but baby, it's something I've always wanted to do. I've always said that whenever I get my own home, that I would like to have scented candles.
But you have the power to do it with your money.
Which we will get to eventually.
Okay.
Right? But because this was such a contentious issue, I felt that it would have been somehow, I mean, you didn't say this, and you had actually told me, go ahead and buy it with your own money.
Exactly.
But because it was such a contentious issue, I knew that at the point when you told me go ahead and buy it with your own money, I would have been buying it out of spite.
Okay.
And not because this is something that I want. And I felt like as a wife, that would have been disrespectful to you. So I needed to make sure that I gave it some time to pass and just allow it to be what it is, and to not do it from a vindictive standpoint. Right? But then the other thing was that I did reason that, you know what, it's true. In the grand scheme of things, I mean, we weren't working for a lot of money. We still aren't. But we weren't, I think only you were working at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was doing my practicum and stuff, and, So I thought, well, you know what? I guess in the grand scheme of things, this really is not important. Like, we have other things that we have to get done. We got the car insurance. We got all these other things. You know, we want to make sure that we don't get ourselves in any debt. Blah, blah, blah. So I said, you know what? Yeah, I guess it's not important. But how does boy, buddy? This is something that is really important to me. How could you not? And the boy, it wasn't like, well, you know, baby, if you did it, it was, if you want candle, you want buy your candle yourself.
I said,
That's what you say. That's what I remember. Me not this way, sir, but that's what I remember. And it was just so hurtful. I was like, how does boy, buddy? You know how much things I just do for you just because you like it? Like, you like your house. You like the house clear in front, like the front house, as you call it, the living room area. You like that without anything in it. And I kept it that way for a good while because you like that. And so those are the things that go into making a home a home. You don't like our clothes to be like on the bed rail. I try not to do it. Right? So like, for me, it was just like, this is something that I like. And I guess I sort of romanticize the idea too. Like, if as a wife, I share something with my husband, at least he would say, you know what, I don't agree. And I wasn't asking you to like agree with me. I still am not. But to see that, you know what, this is something that would make my wife happy. So why not? Why not? And it was a contentious issue for a long time. And I decided, you know what, I'm not going to just go ahead and just buy the candle, even though I did have the power to do it. And I think I did tell you, don't breathe in my fresh air when you come in the house. Yeah. But fast forward to when you left to come to the UK, and I was still back home. One day I was doing some shopping. I think I was looking for gifts for a friend or something, and I saw scented candles. By that time, I had really accepted that this is what it is. And I wasn't mad at you anymore. I just couldn't understand. It was just a sore point, like agree to disagree kind of thing. And I just decided, you know what? I can buy my own candle, which I did. And it was such an empowering feeling.
Well, I'm happy that you finally did it.
Yes, and I sent him a video. I said, baby, please buy scented candle for me. Baby, please buy scented candle for me. I buy my own candle. And it was very dramatic. But I think there was a lot in there about the realities that if, you know, we won't always agree on what's important to make a home, or we won't always agree on what kind of stuff what ingredients we want to add to our marriage. But it's just really important to advocate for yourself. And at least that's how I felt. Like I was advocating for what I want, and asking for it. But, you know, I guess you were well within your rights. And I told one of my friends, Avia, and I said, you could believe this man? He did not buy this candle for me. And well, I mean, it didn't go on like that. But I was reflecting maybe a couple years after. Yeah, because like I said, it was a sore point for a while.
It was a sore point for you.
It was for me. He just completely moved on. Yeah. But yeah, and she said, Kerese, he's right. I was like, and I abused she out too. But I guess, yeah, it is certainly one of those things that we just have to, sometimes there are going to be points in our relationships where we agree to disagree on what stuff we want to put in our relationship, and you just have to learn how to, one, advocate, and two, outsource in healthy ways. Yeah, so you are not the source of my ability to buy a candle. Like, I could do that on my own, which I did eventually. And did anything you want to add? I feel like I've been talking for a long time.
No, that's fine. My wife is a therapist. Come on, let him hear your voice.
Yeah, so, you know, I had this whole moment of self-empowerment and and then this year, for my 30th birthday, I actually came to the UK on my birthday. Carlyle greeted me at the airport, and when we got back to our place, he took out this gift, and it was a whole box. A whole box. That's how many candles? What, 16?
A good set of candles.
A whole lot of scented candles.
It's for every year.
For
and for years in the future as well.
Well, by now I'm gonna buy my own candles, and he's even pointing out candles to me in the store when we go to do our grocery shopping and stuff. So we have certainly resolved this particular issue in terms of agreeing to disagree and not making it an issue. Would you say?
Yeah, but I must say, I do like the candles in the house now that we have them. They're really lovely. They add to the ambience of the house. The house feels warmer, a warmer place to be. So, yes, you're right.
Listen to your wife. Listen to your wife.
Okay.
I have a question though. I have something I'm wondering about. Why, after all this time, after all of the holding out, I'm not spending no money to buy no candle. Why did you decide to buy them finally?
Because you want them.
Okay. Wasn't nothing more?
Nothing more. Something you really wanted. It was your birthday. Could have done something special for you.
Mm-hmm.
So I did it.
Yeah. Okay, cool. I was just wondering. And I guess when, going back over this conversation, which actually came up when we were reviewing it years later, this year, just a few months
Reviewing
ago.
it for the podcast to decide if it was worth going on the record for it. Unless it turned into an abuse out or something.
Yes. That's why you buy the candles.
No.
So before we record it, I'm gonna say you buy candles for me.
Nope. That was for this thing from. We never started
We started
Okay,
podcast,
okay.
Oh shucks, I forgot what I was gonna say. Right, so I was gonna say that. Oh, right. So this came up because we were reviewing this conversation and trying to figure out what we would have done differently and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there were spaces in this where I acknowledged that I was just being extra, that I could have just accepted that this is what it is, that it's not important to you, but it is to me, and it was within my power. But like I said, I didn't want to do it because I knew my heart wasn't in the right place on it. I was still vexed, and I still wanted you to want to buy me a candle just because I wanted it. Like I said, I romanticized the whole thing. But at the same time, my question to you, in our review was, and it started to become a little touchy there, was what would it have cost you to just buy the candles? And now that you've bought them, what did it cost you?
It costs money.
It cost money, but you had money. And it's not $1 million. I ain't even asked for Yankee candles, buddy.
I don't know what
I ain't even asked for Bath and Body Works candles. I just wanted scented candles, whatever they were. And I of course don't know how much you paid for the ones that we have and whatnot. But I really appreciate it. And I think, but the point is, when I was talking to Avian about this, she said to me, Kerese, you guys need to give this time. As a woman who has been married for over 10 years, she was saying, these are things that do come up in your relationship, and it's not, sometimes conflicts and disagreements will just arise, and they can have the potential to be perpetual conflicts that are never resolved. But then there are others that just resolve themselves over time. And so, like, even going back to this conversation, because it feels so resolved for me, it's really hard to realize what was the point.
Mm-hmm.
Why was I upset about this in the first place? Yeah, but I think time has certainly healed this particular wound, and your commitment to doing something that when you felt you were ready, which is another thing. Like, I felt like I needed to give you space if you decided to be ready. And now for therapy apps.
If you didn't know, my wife is a therapist. I'll ask her to put on her therapist hat and share some pointers with you for how to navigate situations like this that might arise in your relationships.
There are lots of ideas we have about what marriage is supposed to look like. So many dreams about who our spouses will be and how they'll meet our needs, how they'll love us and spoil us and all that good stuff. In our first episode, we talked about the importance of listening for your partner's dreams in disagreements. And that's relevant here as well. There's always an elusive dream mixed into the conflicts we face. So it's important to become your partner's dream detective. But today, I wanted to just share some more about a few things we've been learning from this ongoing discussion we've been having for the past 3 years or so. Firstly, in marriage, It's important to respect your and your spouse's right to their individuality. The reality is, you are not your spouse, and your spouse is not you. That's probably what attracted you to each other in the first place. I know, this sounds simple, but when your partner disagrees with you on things that are really important to you, you'll quickly realize that it's harder to actually do the whole accept that you're different thing. Fight hard to give each other space to maintain your separateness. As my dad's dad would have said, let there be spaces in your togetherness. Your marriage isn't falling apart just because there's disagreement. Understand that love and conflict can exist in the same space. Some conflicts just take time to resolve. Secondly, empower yourself. Your spouse is not the source of your ability to get what you want and need. It was really important to me that I didn't just go out and buy a candle just to prove a point to my husband. I knew I would get to the place where the thought of the candle no longer elicited feelings of hurt and disappointment. Then one day, it suddenly occurred to me, you know, Kerese, as a woman, you have to be able to outsource in healthy ways that honor your marriage so you get what you need. There are some things we sit around waiting for our spouses to do for us that we are well within our ability to do for ourselves. The temptation is often to let go of our dreams just because they are not unfolding in the way we envisioned. But I would say, if it's that important to you, work on yourself so much that you let go of the resentment you associate with having to do this thing for yourself. And once you've resolved those feelings, step up and do it. You will discover a whole new level of self-empowerment that will get you so much closer to realizing that dream for yourself. And finally, it is so important to remember that no one person is equipped to meet all of your needs. Only God can do that. A marker of health is the ability to figure out how to solve your own distress without falling apart completely. There are some needs you're going to have to meet for yourself. There are others your spouse will meet, and there are others still that you will only find in God. Make peace with that.
Thank you for those wise words, babe.
You're welcome.
And thank you for joining us. We hope you've enjoyed it.
If you found this enjoyable, please recommend this podcast to one friend who you know will find it useful. We'd appreciate it. And we'd love to hear from you. So send us an email at mywifeisatherapist@gmail.com.
And remember, my wife is not just a therapist. She is an excellent therapist.